crazy, man. So welcome back again to the show, the channel, the speech. Bro, it's 3:04 actually. 3:04 a.m. Isn't that coincidental? Do we have a sign here? And I was seeing a little bit of details. Some of my brothers out there, they're gonna have a really big fight by Christmas, before Christmas actually. But I'm actually gonna ask you to. I'm pretty sure most of you know who I'm speaking about. So I'm gonna send him a lot of good wishes to my brother out there. You know, that big fight. I wish I could be there, but unfortunately, it's just not the time. I have attend a lot of things, and for me to be at 3 a.m. in the morning working because I have important things to attend on my end. I know there's gonna be a lot of time to spend, having the luxuries and these vacations because I wanted to run back then. A couple of years, I wanted to run, and I said, what are you doing? Don't spend straight away or right up to spend the money. So here I am watching this. I mean, I want you to understand that right now, as you and me, we're doing our diligences or closing deals, um, setting up the next deal. We are having, we're witnessing with our own eyes. We are doing. We're living the crash, the great crash. And I've been talking 3 years ago with my fellow members, my associates, people who I know. Look, we all, as rich people, we all know that our assets we might lose, but at the same time we can gain more. I'm pretty sure most of you know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna enter into detail, but I've been telling you, all of you, motherfuckers, that things, and I'm still gonna push this up because clearly what I'm seeing with these generations right now is just fuck, dude. I'm seeing people with piercings here. Like if it's just a cool new trending lifestyle, bro, that's a freaking sign. That guy is just marked. He's marked. He thinks he's just cool. Okay, fine. He can beat your ass up, but it doesn't mean he's just like understanding that his lineage will prevail, bro. What the hell is going on, dude? It's just not how it is. No, it's not. No, it's not. I don't get it. And so I got people recently. I tried to be a normie sometimes. I have a normal life, and I'm just like, you know what? Nah. I'm too capping for this. I'm capping for this normal thing, pretending that it's just normal. Nothing happens. Just try to find a stupid job that you don't really need. No, why? Try to get a girl, more girls again. No, bro, come on, man. You don't need that. You do not need that. You have no idea what's coming. You have no fucking idea what's coming. Okay, fine, cool. I'm an idiot. Yes. Say it. I am. Me, Adele, here, talking. Bruh. So, Why am I putting these videos out there? Why am I putting these videos out? Perhaps it's because you might think I'm just have nothing else to do. No, I'm working. I'm working as of now, and I'm gonna be listening to this. I genuinely, you know what? Let me put the device here because I'm truly need to have some room. It's too freaking annoying. A little bit more down, so I am actually working now. A little bit more farther, so I wish I could go to sleep, but I can't. I cannot go to sleep. There you go. Much better. Okay. I can't go to sleep because I know I had to finish the work before tomorrow. Because what I'm doing now, I'm planning somebody else's life routine right now. Call me everything. I don't care. I'm putting this type of video because I want you to save your ass. I'm going to save your ass. Regardless, I don't care what you think. I don't care what you desire. I don't care what you're craving. I'm trying to stay awake so I can finish the job. Like most of you ass geezers pretend to be the rich lifestyle, Instagram jet, private jet. Actually, I'm gonna go on a fucking jet again. Bro, it's just. Y'all motherfuckers see that stuff. You see, like, oh, well, we're gonna, one day I'm gonna have the lifestyle you see on Instagram. All goofed up. But you don't realize the sleepless nights that people like us we go through. I had to plaster my ass here. Go email through email. And most of the guys, they're just like, oh no, I just pay somebody to do it. Okay, fine, good. How many data breaches have you had before? Your eyes needs to be there. If you don't have your eyes, your physical eyes, coordinating everybody. Email, send. You don't allow people unless their name is or their identity being part of your team. They're gonna facilitate some breach or some leakage of information. It's like stealing the original recipe from KFC, you know? It's like, come on. Does anybody remember these living sponge where the plankton little bug wanted to steal the burger recipe? Something like that. So you need to be aware of everything. You need to be all over your systems, your team, your stuff. You don't have time for this. This 2025, bro. We're having bitches, robots. Eventually, they're gonna take all the girls, wombs. Mark my words. These AI dolls are gonna start taking these dolls. They're gonna be some OnlyFans, only whatever blue page bitches. They're gonna say, I will donate my womb. And guess where the rich man are gonna go? We're gonna go to get babies. Because if it would be up to us as men, it would take you just 2 weeks to have a baby. Not 9 months. You see what I'm saying? No, it's just not how it is. But, it's the reality truth. As you and me, perhaps you that had nothing to do and you're watching my video, good. Good, because I'm saving your life in somehow, your perspective, your persona, anything out there. Don't you see it? Can you smell it? Something is different out there. It's not like before. It's not like before. Definitely, it's not like before. So, if you have no plan or no idea, man, what to do, I'm just gonna give you the big advice ever. Train, sell, network, repeat. Sleep, eat, repeat. Train, sell, network, sleep, eat, repeat. Train. And most of the times you're gonna be working. It implicates a physical. I mean, physical action. If you don't want to do it, fine. You stay there, lose. I have nothing to brag. If I brag, bro, if I brag, I'm an easy target. If I really wanted to close a deal with somebody, not because of my reputation, not because of what I flex, it's because my knowledge, my wisdom, and my network. I need nothing to brag. I tried to brag, bro. You know, it's just like, nah, bro, nah. Don't flex yet. Don't flex. Don't flex. Keep investing, because if you were like feeling rich, let's say if you had 3 mil in the bank, plus your profits and other, investments, that will be fucking nothing. That will be fucking nothing, dude. You have to have the 2 or 3 times the amount. People say, "Oh, well, I have $200,000 in my bank account." Bro, that's gonna become the next $70,000. Having $200,000 is gonna be $70,000. As of now, like nothing. We're witnessing the market crash quietly, in silence, bro. It's just like when you're in a meeting and you heard somebody. You had to pretend like nothing happened. Yes, sir. Cool. Nice. That's it. You had to pretend. You didn't hear it. Or you hear it and you smell it. I'm gonna put this from Robert Kiyosaki. Hopefully, I don't get, because I'm not trying to. I'm just gonna keep working here. Bro, I need to finish this job. I need to finish the work. We have a few hours to sleep, and I know. Seriously, bro. If no fucking. Bro, working is just not fun, dude. You need to be there. You need to be putting your eyes. Like, when you go to the DMB, when you go to other places, don't you see people? Yeah. Okay. Staple in the paper. Number, please. Step it. They're doing their job. They don't like what they do. You're gonna feel shitty. But how about when you go to travel? Yeah. Ooh, yeah. With the 304s over there in the fucking pool. Bro, it's just not. Nah. I mean, something has to be wrong in your head. Like, I used to, when I was younger, I used to think, man, you know, girls are everything. But that was just a stupid me. Oh, the life goal is just the girl in the car. No, bro. No. No. Get that shit out of your head. And now, get that fucking shit out of your head. Now. It's not the yachts. It's not the fucking planes. It's not the girls. It's not the freaking cars. Yo, listen. It's not that. It's the trading skill. See what I'm saying? It's your persona. It's you. Money is nothing, dude. Money is nothing. To me, here, every single fucking video I'm gonna upload, I used to think everything was different as I thought. I got broken down and I used to live in a garage in Southside Chicago. And I still grind. And I still did it. And I was freezing cold, fucking broken down. And I had to push myself. I almost 2 bullets passed by me. Two. And I have one of them here. I'll show you. Come on. Come on. A little bit hard to remove this, but here it is. This is one. This one passed to my head, like here. Walking after to my garage, which used to be my house. That fucking garage used to be my house in Southside Chicago, one of the baddest neighborhood. Beautiful people still. Walking off, tired from work, straight to the driveway. Just open the garage door and go into my room. Oh, because I used to take rag showers at work. Clean myself. And then I'm tired walking home. And there's a bullet. I heard a whirring. There's a freaking missing bullet. Here. You see it? And it hit the wall of the house. I'm like, what the? You see, this hard has to go to be plastered against the wall. You mad if that hit my head? That was another time. Same happened. Different angle. Me living in Southside Chicago. I'm not trying to tarnish or make some Chicago look bad. We all know everything happened everywhere. We all know that happened everywhere. However, that didn't fucking stop me. Living in my house in another place, somebody shot my right in front of my head. Pow, pow, pow. That didn't stop me. That didn't freaking stop me. Not afraid, but you know what? It's time to go. My staff, boom. What's going on? What happened? You know, investigation, let them do their job. It's just crazy. And now I have what I have. I mean, what's the point of fucking? What's the point of flesh? You know, flex. I got reign in silence and work in public. Work in fucking public and reign in silence. You're the owner of the reality. You don't have to flex. If you want to do it, fine, but there's consequences. Be aware. You want bitches? Fine, cool. Go get them. Fine. Let them do it. Let them do it. Fine. Your time is your time. Your reality is your reality. You are creator of your reality. And as of now, I am here because you are meant to watch this video. You are meant to see this video. You know why? Because I mean, as a capitalist myself, I identify myself so much with the Kiyosaki, Robert, and I just listen to the brilliant minds, man. Rich people dive, swim, play with their minds. The other people, they just bring common things, trying to spy on others. Just let them do that shit. They're wasting time. They're wasting energy. They're wasting existence. That's what it is. Existence. Just let them be like that. So that's why they lose. That's why they lose. All that people talking about celebrities, they're losing without knowing. They are freaking losing without knowing. They are losing. But they are getting paid to lose. Wake up, dude. Wake up. Yo, whoever. Wake the fuck up. Wake up. I'm gonna put this and I'm gonna keep working. I'm gonna have a little bit of reactions. What you gonna listen? But you need to listen, bro. You need to listen. If you're not aware, you're not, bro. You're gonna fail. You're gonna fail. It's 3:25 a.m. in the morning. You need to understand that the work is boring. You're not gonna have fun. You don't need fun. Eventually, you're gonna change your mentality. You're gonna say, "Well, I didn't like broccoli raw, but if I steam it a little bit, I think it's just very tasty." But when I was a kid, I wanted to use candies. No, you gotta see reality.
Over the years, the Rich Dad Radio Show has sparked powerful conversations, challenged conventional wisdom, and revealed the truths about money most people never hear.
Yep.
In this special compilation, we've pulled together some of the most eye-opening, controversial, and unforgettable moments, so you can revisit the lessons that continue to change lives. Get ready for the best of Rich Dad Radio.
Listen to that. Listen to that, bro.
Mark, welcome to the show. And like I said, you're one of the smartest guys I know when it comes to the exciting new world of electronic money, crypto. And, my teacher was a man named Dr. R. Buckminster Fuller. And he wrote a book called The Critical Path. But this is his book here called The Grunt of Giants. I don't recommend reading it because it's one of his, it's a tough read. But GRUNT stands for Gross Universal Cash Heist. And it's how our banking system rips off our wealth via our money. So that's why in Rich Dad Poor Dad, it said the rich don't work for money. Your house is not an asset.
Yep.
And savers are losers. And Fuller also predicted that there would be a new form of money coming on. He was a futurist. And so Buckminster Fuller talked about gross universal cash heist, talked about, he was watching kids playing video games, and he says that's the future of money.
En 30 días puedes ganar 3,000 euros.
Alright, forgot the commercials.
Sin pasar horas y horas.
And then, as we know, Bitcoin's now taken the world by storm, and everybody's into crypto. You have this guy, Michael Saylor, and you have Tom Lee. And Michael Saylor is using the leverage of Wall Street with a public company.
Yeah.
What's the name of his company? No.
Strategy. It was MicroStrategy, and now it's called Strategy.
Then you have Tom Lee, who I think is doing kind of a similar thing.
Yep.
His building block is Ethereum.
Yeah.
Could you explain quickly what, as best you can, what Saylor is up to, how he uses a company, but to leverage it through a stock, his shares of his company?
Yeah. So there's really two parts to his company. So there's MicroStrategy, which is now Strategy, but the stock is still MSTR. And there's the common stock of that. And what he's done is he's using public debt and equity market, debt and credit markets to leverage up his Bitcoin position. So very simply, if I buy one Bitcoin and you buy one Bitcoin, but then I borrow 50% of my value against my Bitcoin to buy more, I've levered it up.
Yo, that's true.
Up, I will outperform you.
I've been buying crypto
real estate, right? If I
myself.
Real estate versus putting 20% down, when real estate goes up, the person that used leverage does better. So what using these public vehicles, he's tapping into public debt and equity markets to raise money at low rates to buy an asset that's going up at higher rates. And so that was stage one of the company, which is, hey, I'm going to apply leverage. I'm going to buy Bitcoin. And when you buy my stock, which is the MSCR, common stock, the amount of Bitcoin per share that you own, my goal is to get that to go up over time. So if you buy an ETF, one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. Your Bitcoin doesn't go up. As a matter of fact, your Bitcoin goes down because of the fee. But if you buy MSCR, the exposure, the Bitcoin per share goes up over time because of the level.
Yeah. So increase the stock value with that.
That's correct. So that was phase one. And what he's done now is changing everything that we know about Bitcoin.
Wait, so hold on 1 second. Just like me, I'm an oil and gold guy.
Right.
I own gold mines. I take them public, so I take the public's money to oil, for oil or for gold. So I have a company in Utah, gold company. And every time we strike more gold, the share of my company goes up.
Right.
My exit is kind of through the share price of my company. The same as my oil company, we borrow money from the open markets, public markets, and we drill for oil, and we make money when we strike oil. Is it kind of what Saylor's doing?
It is, but the turn time is much shorter. So, for example, you borrow money from a public market to go drill for oil, and then you'll hit the oil, but that could be years potentially in between. What he's doing is he's borrowing money from the public market and within an hour converting into Bitcoin. But very similar.
It's tempting.
It's tempting, but the next step is where it gets real interesting. So if you think about a thing, so I think the two keys that I talk about building wealth, Robert, is one
pronouns.
How can you call it smart credit, right? Productive capital, productive credit, right? So one, the leverage. How can I use credit or leverage to buy a productive asset that can pay for the debt plus more? That's one. And then the second is arbitrage. How do I leverage two markets against each other? So I can leverage the credit market against the oil. So what he's done also is now he's raised money to buy Bitcoin. And now that he has the Bitcoin as a base layer, as an asset, what do I do with it? Well, what he's recognized is while Bitcoin is the best asset to own, in my opinion, it's the cheat code. In the last 3 years, it's averaged a 60% compound annual growth rate. This year to date, it's also about 60%.
It is.
So what he's done is he said, hey, that's
There's
great.
8,000
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
It can save a lot of these boomers' retirements. But if you're, say, 78 years old on fixed income, you can't go hold Bitcoin for 5 years, and you can't stomach the volatility. I got to pay my bills. Right? I didn't pay for my medication, my electricity. So Michael Saylor says this, fine. You give me the money, I'll buy Bitcoin. I'll give you 10% yield guaranteed, and I'll immune to the volatility and take the risk. So he's created what's called preferred instruments, preferred stock. There's 4 of them. I'll keep it simple, but Strike, Stride, and the new one is Stretch, STRC. You can buy it in your brokerage account. And it's going to pay you 10.5%. So when you give him money, it's credit. He's going to pay 10%. He's going to buy Bitcoin, and he'll make the 50% margin. And the beauty of this, Robert, I'll just give you one example. I'll take a break. But when you buy dividend-paying stocks, you're buying them based off of the future expectation of cash flow. Right? If I buy an AT&T dividend stock, I hope that AT&T has cash flow in the future. But with AI disrupting everything, what guarantee is that there will be cash flow in the future? The difference that he's doing is when you give him money, he buys the asset. And he's paying a small percentage of revenue off of an asset base. And today, if he never took in another penny, he could pay the debt obligation for 120 years. So it's the safest type of credit instrument that you can buy, and it pays about double what other assets are credit instruments are.
And the reason I asked Bert on today is because my generation, the boomer generation, were the first generation with what's called the defined contribution pension plan.
Yep.
It's called a 401k or an IRA. So that came out in 1974 with an act called ERISA, Employee Retirement Income Security Act. So in 1974, the baby boomers were the first guys.
That's Bert Dolman.
Let's say the retirement was not assured. See, up until 1974, if you worked for, let's say, Ford Motor Company or Hawaiian Electric and all those things, your retirement was guaranteed. But for the baby boom generation, our retirements are not guaranteed. And I wrote this book here called Rich Dad's Prophecy, and I was predicting why the biggest stock market crash in history was coming. Now, I'm kind of guessing when I wrote this book. This book was written 10 years ago. But Bert Dolman of Dolman Capital Research is up to date. His finger is on the pulse every single day. His publication is the Wellington Letter. I suggest you get it to find out what he sees coming. Because even if markets crash, you can still make a lot of money. But you have to know what you're doing. So, Bert, the reason I want you on again is that I want you to, if you were a baby boomer right now and all you had was a 401k, what would you do? Welcome, Bert.
Well, a lot of things, but if you're talking about the markets, I would I think education is
pay attention in this
Most
part.
people really don't spend enough time reading. Reading is very, very important. I'm teaching my 5 grandchildren, and they always say, if you want to be a leader, you have to be a reader. And that is so true. So if you're not informed, you're starting out on the wrong foot right away. Right now, for example, I make it a habit of when I meet people and they're asking me about the market, and say, okay, what do you have in your 401k? What do you have in your retirement plan? They have no idea. Then I say, well, is it bonds or stocks? I really don't know. I mean, how can people have their life savings in something that they're going to depend on? And they don't even know if they have bonds or stocks or ETFs. Yeah. I say ETFs, and they say, what's an ETF? So I think it's people are not doing their homework, and the markets have become very complicated, and you have to learn. They don't teach you this in school, and that's what I liked in the first book that you had that I read, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and that schools, maybe they're doing this on purpose, not educating people of what they need to know in life.
I mean,
I'm an HR manager, and I'm stressed. I tried meditating, levitating, touching grass, smacking glass, down the dog, and nothing.
This is crazy. I mean,
this isn't working until
I mean, and if you were 70 years old, a baby boomer, and you had no financial education, all you had was a 401k, and you got probably, let's say you're 70, you probably got 20 more years of life left, and you lose everything in a crash. I mean, is that possible from your point of view, or am I being too pessimistic?
I have been warning about exactly that since the beginning of the year. And I even talked about, in the olden days, maybe they've changed the margin rule, but I remember the 87 crash. A lot of people that were on margin, they borrowed against their stock purchases, they lost their houses. We had dinner with somebody came here to our town, we had lunch, I'm sorry, and he worked for a major Wall Street firm. He was VP, and I said, he told us how much he was traveling. I said,
online
he travels so much. Said, foreclosing houses. I said, foreclosing? I didn't know you were in real estate. He said, we're not. But these are people that couldn't meet their margin calls. So I don't know if that rule has changed, if you can still lose your house because of a margin call. Yo. But I would look into it if I were, the average speculator. Right now, the speculation has gotten so crazy. ETFs, the first they came out with double leverage. Then they came out with triple leverage ETFs. We just had them coming out with 5 times leverage ETFs. That means if the stocks in that ETF go down 20%, that ETF is done. It's broke. It has zero value. I mean, do people
Buy
realize this? No,
pensions.
they don't realize this.
Buy Social Security. Buy the plane is going like this. But with Donald Trump, it's just like landing without the gear deploying.
The ETF is short.
We gotta be a rough landing.
Triple leverage. I said, do you know how fast you can lose all your money with this? You know, even when you take some of the
if I would be you, I would be staying locked in.
You know,
I mean, you can go to your office and your
MSTR.
there's no time to waste. I don't even cook, yo.
It was up to that. It was something like 10% for the year, and but the ETF that is the triple leverage for that was down 36%. So the people thought they were going to make 3 times as much as the stock itself. No, they lost their shirt. That's what happens. People don't know how the math works. ETFs.
So you know, Bert. So we have a highly uneducated baby boom generation. I think it's the largest generation. We have Gen X, Gen Z. You know, I feel for those guys.
It's just how it is, unfortunately.
For years I warned the biggest crash in history was coming. People laughed. They said I was overreacting. But today, the crash has arrived. It's not only the United States, Europe is cracking, Asia is cracking, jobs are disappearing, AI is wiping out entire career paths. And when the jobs vanish, real estate collapses, offices empty.
It's true, AI is going to replace
this
you.
This is exactly what I wrote in Rich Dad's Prophecy.
Everybody says that.
In 2013. Everything I warned about is unfolding. Millions will lose everything because they stayed in the assets. They trusted Wall Street.
Crazy.
They trusted politicians. They trusted the Fed that saved them. The Fed is out of moves. Inflation is rising again. Debt is over $38 trillion.
Hell yeah.
Weakening fast, and the old system is breaking.
You don't believe it?
If you are prepared, the crisis will be the greatest wealth building opportunity of your life. This is
we'll see who laugh last, brother.
Silver. Gold is soaring in 2025.
Yo.
And I expect even bigger gains in 2026. Silver is $50 today. I predict $70 soon, and possibly $200 in 2026. Most people will panic. The prepared will get rich. If you want to be on the right side of the crash, get the 2025 Rich Dad Wealth Defense Guide. You can add gold or silver to your IRA or 401k legally, tax-free, and penalty-free. Call 866-703-9895 or text GUIDE to 24999. Again, call 866-703-9895 or text GUIDE to 24999. Get your free wealth defense guide. The crash has begun. Do not wait.
Hello, Robert Kiyosaki.
Oh, it is,
radio
bro.
Show. Anyway, we have a very important show. All our shows are important.
My
This
401ks.
is especially important.
Most of us
if
were
you
taking
have a
it.
family member who's a boomer, baby boomer. And I forgot the years they were born between, but there's millions of them. And especially so if they have a pension. And the reason this is important is when I was getting out of the Marine Corps in 1974, they had a thing called ERISA, Employee Retirement Income Security Act. And anytime the government says our act is to protect your income, bend over and don't pick up the soap, you know what I mean? Because they're going to get you. So my generation in 1974 was the first generation without what they call defined benefit pension.
Oh boy.
Defined benefit means you're guaranteed a pension no matter what. When ERISA kicked in 74, it shifted to defined contribution. And I remember coming out of the Marine Corps, looking for a job in Hawaii. I was stationed in Hawaii, my last station I flew out of. And I go to downtown Honolulu, and every school teacher, I go to these meetings about the new what you call it, profession called financial planners. I say, you too can be a financial planner. I'm going, oh, let me go check this out. So I go and I sit on these meetings where people want to be financial planners because the shift went from defined benefit to defined contribution. So your contribution would depend upon what this financial planner advised you. Your 401k or IRAs in America, RRSP in Canada, superannuation in Japan, I think, and anyway, stuff like that. So anyway, around the world, the boomers, the biggest generation in history, is now at the point where those pensions are due. Very important subject because it's going to affect a lot of people. So as a friend of mine, Ted Siddell, he's a pension forensics expert. He wrote this book here. It's called Who Stole My Pension? And so there's a lot of boomers my age who are going to wake up and say, huh? I don't have a pension.
What
I'm
happened?
too old to work.
Who took
And you're
it?
out of time. So that's one of the reasons I founded the Rich Dad Company is we have no financial education. And so people, I don't need a pension. You know, I invest for myself. I have a family, we call a family office. I don't need I have advisors. But anyway, I was a pilot, and most of my friends became pilots for the airlines. And they're all happy because they had job security, they had pensions. And guess what? Voila, their pensions disappeared. So here they are. They're now about 65 years old, and they have no pension. And so that's why it's kind of personal to my classmates, my fellow pilots. We flew in the Marine Corps. They were still working, and then had no pensions.
Oh,
So that's why Ted Siddell and I co-authored this book here, Who Stole My Pension? Because Ted is the #1 forensics expert. He goes after the pensions and how they steal your wealth because they've been den of thieves. You know, most financial planners are nice people. Well, I wouldn't let them lead me to the toilet. I really have no respect for them because they're going to put me in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs. And I don't do those things. You can do what you want. I don't give financial advice, but I'd rather handle my own pension. Thank you, my own retirement. So I retired years ago without a pension, and I did it with real estate and investments. So Ted, welcome to the program. Been nice working with you all these years, but you know that old saying, cheer up, it could get worse. we all cheered up. And a lot of these guys in these pensions, like CalPERS, California Personnel and all that stuff, they're smelling the coffee right now, right?
Yeah, they certainly are. And I've just been hired a few months ago to do a forensic investigation of CalPERS, which is nearly $600 billion. Between CalPERS and CalSTRS, which is the state teacher's pension, you're talking about $1 trillion. And so if that money is being mismanaged, that's like, you know, a global, a sovereign country. I mean, it's $1 trillion there in those pensions. So I was hired recently to do a forensic investigation of CalPERS on behalf of the State Retiree Association, RPEA. And that's what I've been doing. And it's for the last few months. And it's been in NBC News and on Financial Times and all over the country. They've been even internationally writing about this investigation because CalPERS is the largest.
So, and you've also been awarded the biggest reward for taking it to these pension crooks. I mean,
yeah, I won the largest SEC award, whistleblower awards in history, nearly $100 million for the investigations I've done. So I got the largest award from the SEC, then the largest award from CFTC, and then another one from the SEC. So yeah, the federal government has confirmed my findings over the years. I've done over $1 trillion of these investigations. But anyhow, CalPERS is big news because they are the largest, and pensions move in what we call a herd with a herd instinct. So when the leader jumps off a cliff, all the other lemmings jump off as well. So it's really important that the leader be leading and not misleading.
Yeah, so what Ted is talking about is called a bellwether, or the cow with the bell in their neck. So whatever CalPERS is doing, the rest of the herd is following close behind. And what you're saying is CalPERS is in trouble?
Yeah, CalPERS has been in trouble for the last 25 years. Up until about 2000, Robert, CalPERS was considered the quote-unquote gold standard. All the other pensions looked to them. They were the model for effective governance and transparency. All that started falling apart after 2000. One board member went to prison. Another board member committed suicide before he was being sentenced. They've just been hit with scandal after scandal, and they're now pretty much a poster child for poor governance. And they champion things like, you're familiar with ESG or DEI, a lot of these progressive investment strategies.
Really?
CalPERS was the originator of. So, and the herd followed the leader, right? So, that's pretty wild. Anything you can imagine.
This is the book here. If you're young enough, please read this book. If you're old, like over 50, you might be in serious trouble.
Yeah, for real.
Because explain why they were committing suicide. Well, these guys who were the so-called leaders of these pensions, these teachers and things like that, they were on the take also. They were getting a commission on both sides to the toast was buttered on both sides. And all
the main problem with public pension plans, like city, county, state public pension plans, are, first of all, they are not governed by ERISA. ERISA, the comprehensive federal law that you talked about earlier, that provides important protections for participants. Well, when they created that law in 1974, they made a huge loophole. All state and local pensions are not subject to ERISA.
So could you explain how these leaders were stealing from the people they trusted to run the pension? How were they stealing? What were some of the nefarious tricks they were up to?
This is a key important. Listen to this.
Leaders need to understand about public pension, state and local government pensions, is they're political animals. These funds, these investments, retirement funds are not being selected, managed based upon what's the best investment, based upon the best performance or merit. They're political.
Grainger knows that if you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on, you go to great lengths and sometimes heights to ensure the power is always flowing. Which is why you can count on Grainger for professional grade products and next day delivery, so you have everything you need to get the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Robert Kiyosaki, Understand Radio Show. Our friend is longtime friend Doug Casey. Yeah, since you and I are now the senior citizens of this generation, how are you prepared for it? I mean, or what would you recommend a person prepare for it? If you save the dollar, America's printing $2 trillion.
$2 trillion.
Like Zimbabwe was.
Yeah,
bro.
Why would you save
Imagine
the dollar?
Imagine when.
It's crazy to save the dollar.
Imagine when.
It's important to produce,
Bo Jiden.
consume, and save the difference. But what do you save it in? Can't save dollars. They're hot potatoes. It's an IOU nothing on the part of a bankrupt government. So I've used gold and silver as savings vehicles forever. So I bought my first gold at around $40 an ounce, and I've never sold an ounce. So I still have it all, and lots of silver. I hate to advise people to buy gold now, because before, it was obviously depressed relative to everything else. Now, it seems to me, gold is more or less where it should be relative to cars, houses, clothes. I think it could go 10 to 1 from here for different reasons, but not because it's underpriced. But you have to save. The problem is, what do you save in now? It's a tougher situation than people have ever been in before, I think. I think silver is still relatively underpriced. It's going higher.
Right. What's the point of
saying, which is a concern that I have? He says the worst thing that's going to get the boomer generation, the 401ks, is inflation.
Yeah.
No matter how much they have in their 401k, and we're spending $2 trillion more than we pull in. They're probably
that's right. I mean, you buy your average stock, and maybe it's yielding 2 or 3%, something like that. But the dollar is losing value. You can't believe the government's figures. You can't believe the U.S. government's figures any more than you can believe the Argentine government's figures. The dollar is losing value in real terms in between 5 and 10% per year. So what do you do? I know real estate has always treated you extremely well because it's a real asset. But is real estate getting overpriced too?
Well,
I don't know.
Find a bargain. You know what I mean? That's what I like about real estate. There's somebody always in the sell mode.
Don't see. I mean, you can't be financially okay, but you're gonna stay steady. You're not gonna
cruising into.
You don't know how to implement another strategies.
Do you know how many baby boomers are in the world, Doug?
Let me see. In the U.S. or in the world?
The total world. The number 2 billion baby boomers. That means there's 2 billion people out of 8 billion coming off the work line. I'm like, what is that going to do?
Well, do they have enough savings to maintain them as their bodies start falling apart?
That's what I mean. What goes up are your medical bills.
Yeah.
At 6 they just skyrocket.
On the bright side, maybe Elon Musk is right, and in 10 years, robots will be able to do most of what needs doing in the way of physical labor. And it seems like AI is already doing people's thinking for them. But I'm not sure you can trust AI any more than you can trust Wikipedia, quite frankly.
The other thing I heard was that there's 200 million Americans out of 360 million, almost 50%, who are on some kind of government subsistence.
I think that's true, and I wonder how many Americans are sleeping under bridges and on park benches, because you go to major cities and you see them everywhere. The number's got to be, I don't know. The numbers are unreliable. I mean, people want to report numbers for whatever political reasons they have, but there are hundreds of thousands of Americans that have nothing, not even a house, maybe not even a tent. So what's going to happen to those people? I mean, are we going to have to support them as their numbers double and triple and more?
Thomas Jefferson warned us years ago. He says if a central bank takes over, people will wake up homeless in their own country. And now homelessness is exploding across America. Mm-hmm. And we have a Federal Reserve Bank that everybody worships. And I'm going, are you kidding me? The Federal Reserve Bank's Marxist.
Yes, and they expect that, including Trump, I've got to say, he thinks that if the Federal Reserve just reduces interest rates and prints more money, then everything will be fine. Everything will boom. So he looks at the immediate and direct consequences of printing a lot of money up. Hey, I feel rich. I can go out and buy stuff. But he's looking at he does not look at the delayed and indirect consequences. The currency becomes nothing. People's savings are destroyed. The bond market will be destroyed.
This podcast is a presentation of Rich Dad Media Network.
See that? Pretty sure that's all it is. See if we can do something else. I mean, set this up, man.
From 0 to 6 figures and personally enrolled over 200 people without prospecting a single person.
Yo, you gotta listen. This is what I talk
You
in
really need
rooms.
to start looking.
Yo,
Hello, Robert, to the Second Rich Dad Radio Show. I'm broadcasting from Phoenix, Arizona, where it's either heaven or hell. Right now it's heaven. This is why people live here. Anyway, we have a very important show. All our shows are important. But this is especially important if you have a family member who's a boomer, baby boomer. And I forgot the years they were born between, but there's millions of them. And especially so if they have a pension. And the reason this is important is when I was getting out of the Marine Corps in 1974, they had a thing called ERISA, Employee Retirement Income Security Act. And any time the government says our act is to protect your income, bend over and don't pick up the soap, you know what I mean? Because they're going to get you.
again.
So my generation in 1974 was the first generation without what they call defined benefit pension. Defined benefit means you're guaranteed a pension no matter what. When ERISA kicked in 74, it shifted to defined contribution. And I remember coming out of the Marine Corps, I was looking for a job in Hawaii. I was stationed in Hawaii, my last station I flew out of. And I go to downtown Honolulu, and every school teacher, I go to these meetings about the new profession called financial planners. I said, you too can be a financial planner. I'm going, oh, let me go check this out. So I go and I sit on these meetings for people who want to be financial planners because the shift went from defined benefit to defined contribution. So your contribution will depend upon what this financial planner advised you. Your 401k or IRAs in America, RRSP in Canada, superannuation in Japan, I think, and anyway, stuff like that. So everyone around the world, the boomers, the biggest generation in history, is now at the point where those pensions are due. Very important subject because it's going to affect a lot of people.
A lot of people are going to be way more homeless, and now it's a law.
Forensics expert. He wrote this book here. It's called Who Stole My Pension? And so there's a lot of boomers my age who are going to wake up and say, I don't have a pension. I'm now too old to work. And you're out of time. So that's one of the reasons I founded the Rich Dad Company is we have no financial education. And so people, I don't need a pension. You know, I invest for myself.
Who doesn't?
They call a family office. I don't need I have advisors. But anyway, I was a pilot, and most of my friends became pilots for the airlines. And they're all happy because they had job security, they had pensions. And guess what?
Bro, I cannot stop.
Their pensions disappeared. So here they are. They're now about 65 years old. They have no pension.
We're kind of going again.
So that's why it's kind of personal to my classmates, my fellow pilots we flew in the Marine Corps. They were still working and then had no pensions. So that's why Ted Siddell and I co-authored this book here, Who Stole My Pension? Because Ted is the #1 forensics expert. He goes after the pensions and how they steal your wealth because they've been thieves. You know, most financial planners are nice people. Well, I wouldn't let them lead me to the toilet. And I really have no respect for them because they're going to put me in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs. And I don't do those things. You can do what you want. I don't give financial advice, but I'd rather handle my own pension. Thank you, my own retirement. So I retired years ago without a pension, and I did it with real estate and investments.
La 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 la. Oh. Joy, visitors. Who gave you my address? Never mind, you're here now. Sorry I didn't have time to spruce up the place. Max and I weren't really expecting company. Make yourself at home. You can look around. Just don't touch anything.
Pretty quick. No, it's safe. I can definitely get rid of that. Oh boy. Alright, so let's keep going with that because too much music favorites.
So Ted, welcome to the program. Been nice working with you all these years, but you know that old saying, cheer up, it could get worse. we all cheered up. And a lot of these guys in these pensions, like CalPERS, California personnel and all that stuff, they're smelling the coffee right now, right?
Yeah, they certainly are. And I've just been hired a few months ago to do a forensic investigation of CalPERS, which is nearly $600 billion. Between CalPERS and CalSTRS, which is the state teachers' pension, you're talking about $1 trillion. And so if that money is being mismanaged, that's like, a global, a sovereign country. I mean, it's $1 trillion there in those pensions. So I was hired recently to do a forensic investigation of CalPERS on behalf of the State Retiree Association, RPEA. And that's what I've been doing. And it's for the last few months. And it's been in NBC News and on Financial Times and all over the country. They've been even internationally writing about this investigation because CalPERS is the largest.
So, and you've also been awarded the biggest reward for taking it to these pension crooks. I mean,
yeah, I won the largest SEC award, whistleblower awards in history, nearly $100 million for the investigations I've done. So I got the largest award from the SEC, then the largest award from CFTC, and then another one from the SEC. So yeah, the federal government has confirmed my findings over the years. I've done over $1 trillion of these investigations. But anyhow, CalPERS is big news because they are the largest, and pensions move in what we call a herd with a herd instinct. So when the
Yeah.
leader jumps off a cliff, all the other lemmings jump off as well. So it's really important that the leader be leading and not misleading.
Yeah, so what
Yeah,
Ted is
well.
talking about is called the
That's
bellwether,
how it is, man.
Or the,
That's how it is.
the cow with the bell in their neck. So whatever CalPERS is doing, the rest of the herd is following close behind. And what you're saying is CalPERS is in trouble?
Yeah, CalPERS has been in trouble for the last 25 years. Up until about 2000, Robert, CalPERS was considered the quote-unquote gold standard. All the other pensions looked to them. They were the model for effective governance and transparency. All that started falling apart after 2000. One board member went to prison. Another board member committed suicide before he was being sentenced. They've just been hit with scandal after scandal, and they're now pretty much a poster child for poor governance. And they've championed things like, you're familiar with ESG or DEI, a lot of these progressive investment strategies. CalPERS was the originator. So, and the herd followed the leader, right? So, that's pretty wild. Anything you can imagine.
This is the book here.
Right.
If you're young enough, please read this book. If you're old, like over 50, you might be in serious trouble. Because explain why they were committing suicide. Were these guys who were the so-called leaders of these pensions, these teachers and things like that, they were on the take also? They were getting a commission on both sides of the toast was buttered on both sides. And all
Well, the
kinds
main problem with public pension plans, like city, county, state public pension plans, are, first of all, they are not governed by this. ERISA, the comprehensive federal law that you talked about earlier, that provides important protections for participants.
Bro, I'm falling
Well, when they
asleep, bro.
created that law in 1974, they made a huge loophole. All state and local pensions are not subject to ERISA.
So could you explain how these leaders were stealing from the people they trusted to run the pension? How were they stealing? What were some of the nefarious tricks they were up to?
Well, one of the things your viewers need to understand about public pension, state and local government pensions, is they're political animals. These funds, these investments, retirement funds are not being selected, managed based upon what's the best investment, based upon the best performance or merit. They're political considerations. Who's giving to whose political campaign? So basically, there are no rules anymore on Wall Street giving to politicians. And politicians are running these funds. Here in Florida, the state pension fund is $200 and $300 billion. It has 3 board members overseeing the governor, the attorney general, and the state chief financial officer, none of whom have any experience. You may recall, Robert, I just finished last year investigation.
What you're saying, the people running the pensions and deciding what they're going to invest in have no idea what they're doing.
None whatsoever. Last year, I did an investigation of the state of Minnesota pension. And I completed the investigation right before the election. And one of the things we discovered was that Tim Walz was the chairman of the state pension. And you may recall in his election disclosure, he admitted from the get-go he had never bought a stock or bond in his life. In his financial disclosure, as soon as he was nominated, which was the very week I released my findings about how he'd been mismanaging the pension, he admitted that he did not own a stock or bond, never had owned a stock or bond. And yet this is the guy overseeing the, I think it was $250 billion Minnesota state pension. Same here in Florida. Ron DeSantis doesn't know anything about investing in stocks or bonds. Maybe he had a net worth of a couple $100,000 before he got a book deal. But and in California, it's the same thing. You've got elected officials who need campaign contributions to fund their political campaigns. And what's the biggest contract, most lucrative contract the state can hand out? Money management. It can be worth billions.
The reason I'm cracking up is in my family, they still can't get that mantra out of their head. Now, you go to school, but you get a good, safe job with the government because the government has a pension. And what Ted is saying, what I'm saying in this book here, you're up the river, without a paddle. And that's what's going to happen right now. It's happening all over the world. So we come back. Ted, I shouldn't be cracking up, but I think it's absurdly stupid that my family go to school so you can get a good government job. Or my father was happy I could have flown for the airlines because I would have got a good pension. They're gone. We'll be right back with Ted.
No more pension for no one. Sorry, bro, I need to rest.
For years, that word, our money is fake, our debt is out of control, and the middle class will
I
get
need to rest, bro. I need to rest. I gotta cut this. I'm not gonna put my health at risk. Later. Pay attention. Pay attention. All finances. Keep it low key. If you have a job, keep pushing. You need to give your life what you're offering. Stay safe. Good luck.
Silver is already up